Could this be marked People's 64B? 64C, Your Honor.
64C.
So what object would you be facing when you're pressing the buzzer?
That seems to be that big beam, the big cement beam,
Okay.
from what I
That-
remember.
Pardon?
From what I remember, facing that direction.
At the time that you were ringing the bell, sir, can you tell us whether you could see any lights on in the house?
There was one light on upstairs.
Could you see any lights on downstairs?
No, I couldn't.
Did it appear to be dark downstairs?
Yes.
Sustained.
How
Answer
did it
stricken,
appear?
rephrase the question.
How did it appear downstairs in the house?
It appeared to be no lights on.
I need to get the phone record exhibit back. I'll show you what's been marked previously as People's 148. All right, you indicated before we broke that you called your boss's pager, and that was at about 10:43.
Yes.
And after you called your boss's pager, what did you do?
Well, after I paged him, like I said, I got back out of the car and continued to buzz the intercom a couple more times. Still, there was no answer. So that's when I got back into the car and placed another phone call.
Okay, so after you buzzed a couple more times, got no answer, when you got into the
I'd
car,
like to take
did
that,
you...
counsel, but she's restating his testimony.
Sustained.
Form that question, I'm sorry.
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Sustained.
I'd like to approach.
Sustained.
Did you call your boss again when you got back in the car?
Not him, no.
Who did you call?
I called my mom
Why?
to get a phone number from her
And why'd you do that?
because I wasn't sure if the page went through, so I wanted to try his home phone because sometimes he doesn't answer his business phone after a certain time.
And what phone number were you trying to get from your mother?
His home phone number.
Your boss's home phone number?
Yes.
And look at the bill in front of you, if you would, sir. Direct your attention to the next call in time, placed at 10:46 and 30 seconds. Do you recognize the phone number shown here?
Yes, I do.
And whose phone number is that?
That is my father's, which my mom was at.
Which is where your mom was?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you reach your mother when you dialed that phone number?
Yes, I did.
And you had a conversation with her, did you?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall exactly how long that phone call lasted when you spoke to her?
Exactly how long? No.
About how long do you think it lasted?
2-3 minutes.
Would it refresh your recollection as to the precise amount of time if you were to look at the phone bill indicating the duration of the call?
Yes.
I'm pointing out to the witness the phone call he has just described on the bill. And it indicates under duration 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Does that refresh your recollection, sir?
Yes, it does.
And is that about how long that phone call was?
Yes.
Now, did you get some information from your mother?
Yes, I did. She got the phone number for me.
Okay. And after she got the phone number for you, what did you do?
At that time, I don't remember if I got out and buzzed one more time or not, but I know it was just a few seconds after that I called his house.
When you say his house, who's that?
Dale St. John, my boss.
And is there a phone call indicated on that particular phone bill in front of you, People's 148, that reflects the call made to your boss?
Yes.
And is that the call placed, first of all, you locate the phone number, sir?
Yeah.
And you recognize that phone number as your boss's home phone?
Yes, I do.
And was that call placed at 10:49:07?
Yes.
Okay, when you called him at 10:49:07, was Dale St. John at home?
No, he wasn't.
Did you get any answer?
No.
Did you get an answering machine or anything?
Nothing.
No answer at all?
No.
After you called your boss at home and got no answer, what did you do next?
I stepped back out of the car and proceeded to ring the buzzer some more times. Still got no answer.
Okay. How many more times did you ring the buzzer at that point, sir?
I don't know, 2 or 3.
2 or 3 times?
Yeah.
All right. When you rang the buzzer again a couple more times and got no answer, what happened next?
The next thing I remembered was hearing the car phone ring inside the car, and got back in and picked up the phone. It was Dale St. John.
Now, do you see on the phone bill in front of you, sir, a call at 10:52 and 17 seconds?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you indicated before you don't know the phone number of what your limo was.
No, never called it.
Okay. But you surmised earlier that that was the number indicated on this phone call at 10:52:17?
Yes.
And at 10:52 and 17 seconds in the evening, sir, did you speak to your boss on the car phone in the stretch limo?
Yes, I did.
When you got out to ring the buzzer just before you got that call, was your driver's door open or closed?
It was open.
And on the 2 previous occasions when you indicated that you got out of the limo to ring the bell, was the driver's door open or closed?
It was open. I left it open.
When you sat down at 10:52 and 17 seconds to speak to your boss, Dale St. John, did you leave the driver's door open or closed?
From what I remember, open.
As you sat in the car, were you seated, which way were you facing?
I was facing, looking down the driveway towards the house.
So were you facing in through the gate?
Yes.
And as you spoke to Dale St. John on the telephone, were you looking at the driveway area?
Most of the time, yeah. I might have looked at the dashboard or something here or there.
Can you tell us what the lighting was like in the driveway area that you were able to see?
The lighting, it wasn't that bright. It didn't offer much light at all. I remember a light in the entranceway by the front door, and from what I remember, I think there was a light above the garage that didn't offer much light.
I'm going to show you a diagram that you previously looked at, People 66. I'm going to ask you to indicate for us on this diagram. You can step down, take a pointer. From where you were seated, sir, at the Ashford Gate, what part of the driveway leading out to Rockingham were you able to see, if any?
He's about to this area. Just along here. I couldn't see beyond this at all.
For the record, the witness is pointing to, if you drew a diagonal line from the northwest corner of the garage across the driveway, he couldn't see past or down the rock. He could not see south at that point. We're going to do it on the Elmo in a minute. And what was the lighting like for the balance of the driveway that you could see?
It wasn't very bright at all. There was some lighting, but it was, it wasn't a very bright light. Like I said, there was the brightest light came from this area.
From the entrance area?
Mm-hmm.
And for the record, the witness was indicating the entrance area when he said this area.
I also got an uh-huh as an answer.
I'm sorry?
I said I also got an uh-huh as an answer.
Uh-huh. From the witness?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is that what you got? Yes? Okay. You can take the witness answer.
All right, Ms. Clark, do we need the phone record? Okay.
All right. Mr. Park, if you would, direct the pointer again to indicate what part of the driveway, that boundary line that you indicated to us before, after which you couldn't see anything, indicate to us on this. Have the pointer draw the line to indicate what was the point at which your visibility ended.
It would have been down, like you said, at the northwest corner of the garage. And if you go in a diagonal line across to the lawn area.
No, I
No.
don't believe
Yeah.
that's not what
I
he...
just want to
No.
object.
Have-
to-
yeah.
Yes, do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Erase that, please.
Same spot where you started. But the line would have been more diagonal. It would have curved more towards the lawn. It wasn't straight across.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Should it keep going like that?
Yeah.
All right.
Just about to there.
All right. And you indicated that there was some light. Where? Could you direct?
Where the word entrance is of the house.
Yeah, and where in relationship to the word entrance?
Just about. It's hard to do when you're not doing it yourself here. Just about that square patio area Would
Tell
be
it, tell it what direction to go.
that whole square patio would be from each corner to corner would be a circle area, I would say.
A circle within that square?
Yes.
Okay. All right, is that correct, sir?
Yes.
All right. People's... People 66D, Your Honor.
66B.
All right, now, as you were seated in the limousine speaking to your boss, did you say something to your boss?
Yeah, I told him that I thought nobody was home.
And then what happened? Did he respond to you?
Yes.
Did he tell you to do something?
Well, he asked me to.
Okay, what'd your boss tell you?
Well, first he told me, he said OJ's usually running a little late, so hang out until about 11:15. If he's not there by then, go ahead and come on home. He also asked if, because I told him there was no lights on downstairs, he asked me to look at a pantry area, what he called a pantry area, where there was what resembled some sunroofs or skylighting towards the garage area. And he asked me if there was any lights on in there.
Okay.
He said he usually watches TV in there.
Now, can you locate the area that he was directing you to look at on this diagram?
Just straight down from the circle, right in that area on the roof. I'm pretty sure. It's hard to tell with this kind of a drawing.
You think that was the area you...
It would have been somewhere around there.
All right. And did you do what he asked you to do? Did you look?
Yes.
And did you see any lights on in that area?
No, I didn't.
And did you tell him so?
Yes, I did.
Now, you see the area designated as play yard?
Yes.
That area, were you able to see it? How is it lit?
It's very dark.
At some point during your phone conversation with Dale St. John, did something attract your attention?
Yes. A white male walked from behind the house area on a pathway, and he had a flashlight in his hand, and he stopped before he got to the driveway.
Okay.
So I told Dale that, somebody's home.
All right. Now, at that particular point in time, had you already looked at the house, at the area that you were directed to look at by Dale St. John to see if there were any lights?
Yes.
And after you saw that there were no lights, was it after that point that you saw this white male?
Yes, it was.
And that person that you're describing, have you since learned what his name is?
Yes.
And what is his name?
Cato.
Can you show us on the diagram, direct the pointer to where you saw him on the side yard?
Right there where the arrow was, where the path comes out from behind the house. He came out to just about the driveway, right there.
Was he on the driveway or was he on the grass?
No, he was off a couple feet.
Okay, tell the pointer where to go.
Just right there.
Okay, was he on the grass or on the path?
I couldn't see.
You couldn't tell?
No.
So is that the general location where he was?
Yes.
Could you tell what kind of flashlight he had?
At that time, no.
Okay. What was he doing when you saw him?
He was just standing there, from what I observed.
Could you tell where he was looking or what he was doing?
He looked at me, and then he started to look, in the area of the Rockingham driveway.
Now, when he was looking at you, where were you?
I was inside the car on the phone.
Talking to your boss?
Yes.
Now, at the same time that you saw Cato Kalin in the side yard, did you see anything else?
Yes, I saw a figure come down. Well, not come down, but I saw a figure come into the entranceway of the house, just about where the driveway starts.
Can you show us on this diagram where you first saw that person?
Just if you go where the circle is, you go straight back. No, the other way. A little bit farther. It was about there. Around that area.
Okay. Roughly that area?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe the person that you saw? Was that the first point at which you saw the person?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe what he looked like, what that person looked like?
That's the form of that question, Your Honor.
6 foot, 200 pounds.
6 foot, 200 pounds?
All dark clothing.
And could you tell anything else about this person?
No.
Could you tell whether the person was Caucasian or African American?
Black.
Okay. And how, in relationship to when you saw Cato Kalin, when did you first see this person?
It was almost simultaneously. It was seconds after I saw him.
And this 6 foot, 200 pound African American person in all dark clothing, was this person moving quickly or slowly?
Not quickly, not slowly. A good pace walk, it seemed to be.
And moving in what direction, sir?
Into the house, or towards the house.
Did you form an opinion as to whether this was a male or female?
No.
And when you saw that person, did that person walk into the entrance?
Yes.
After that person walked into the entrance, what did you do?
I then proceeded to, I was still talking to Dale at the same time. I said, somebody's here. He said, fine, finish the job, take him to the airport, and I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. I hung up the phone, and I still waited it was about another 30 seconds or so before I got out of the car. But before that, I was still waiting for somebody to open the gate. I figured somebody was going to come open the gate for me.
Okay.
They still didn't.
How long after you saw the 6 foot, 200 pound person in all dark clothing go into the house did you continue to talk to Dale St. John?
Oh, it was just anywhere between 10 to 30 seconds. It wasn't very long.
So on the phone bill in front of you, sir, in that last call where it indicates 10:52 and 17 seconds, does it indicate how long the phone call was for, the duration of the call?
Yes, 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
Okay, and does that comport with your memory of the length of the phone call?
Yes.
So you would have hung up with him at 10:55 and 12 seconds?
Yes.
And it was within the last 10 to 30 seconds of that call at 10:50, of ending that call at 10:55, that you saw this 6 foot, 200 pound person go into the entrance?
Yes.
After you hung up with Dale St. John, you said you sat for another 30 seconds or so?
Yes, I did.
Your
Why
Honor,
was that?
This is leading, suggesting that we covered this.
That was foundational, Your Honor.
Sustained.
After you You indicated that you sat for another 30 seconds. Why did you sit for another 30 seconds in your car after you hung up?
Because I was waiting for the gate to be open. I figured somebody's home, they saw me, they're going to let me in.
And did Cato Kalin come over to let you in?
No, he didn't.
And did the 6-foot, 200-pound person dressed in all dark clothing come to let you in?
No.
And after 30 seconds, what did you do?
That's when I got back up and out of the car and rang the intercom. This time there was an answer, which was Mr. Simpson. He told me that he overslept and he just got out of the shower and he'd be down in a minute.
How many times did you have to ring the buzzer this time before it was answered?
Back to the form of the question. How many times did you have to ring the buzzer down?
Overruled. You can answer the question.
Can you repeat it?
How many times did you have to ring the buzzer this time before it was answered?
Oh, it was just, he answered it pretty much immediately.
As soon as you rang?
Yes.
And when he said to you, and when you heard the voice say to you, sorry, I overslept, did you recognize that voice?
Yes, I did.
Overruled. That question has
Yes.
not been answered.
And whose
Overruled.
voice was it?
Mr. Simpson's.
And what did you say he said to you?
That he
Overruled.
he overslept, he just got out of the shower, and he'd be down in a minute.
Now, had you ever heard Mr. Simpson's voice before?
Yes.
How did you hear it before?
On TV, commentary, sports.
Is that how you recognized it?
Yes.
Could you tell, when you saw that 6-foot, 200-pound person walk into the entrance, could you tell whether that person was coming from the Rockingham driveway or from the area of the garage, from the south pathway?
No, I couldn't.
Could you tell whether that person had anything in their hands?
No.
When that person walked into the entrance of the house, did you notice whether there was any change in the lighting in the house?
Some lights came on downstairs, yes.
And was that immediately after the person entered the house?
Sustained.
How long after that person entered the house, the front entrance, did the lights go on downstairs?
Just seconds.
Could you tell which lights went on?
No, I just saw, from the windows and the curtains they illuminated. I couldn't tell you where the lights came from, no.
After that 6-foot, 200-pound person went into the house, did you happen to notice where Mr. Kalin was?
From what I remember, he was still standing on the sidewalk.
Did he acknowledge you in any way after that person went into the house?
From what I remember, he kind of gave me a hand gesture, letting me know he's there.
And that was after the 6-foot person went into the house?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
That person that you saw go into the house, did he look like someone you recognize?
No.
Did he look like Mr. Simpson?
Overruled.
I couldn't tell who it was.
Did it appear to be the same size as Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Same height and weight?
Overruled.
Around there.
Was Mr. Kalin ever on the driveway at the same time as the 6-foot, 200-pound person that went into the house?
Not that I remember, no.
After you spoke to Mr. Simpson on, let's strike that. How long after you saw the 6-foot, 200-pound person go into the house did you speak to Mr. Simpson on the intercom?
Sustain. I'm sorry, I'm going to overrule that. You can answer the question.
It had to
Different question on lights.
have been anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute.
And after you spoke to Mr. Simpson on the intercom, what happened next?
I got back into the car and waited another 20, 30 seconds and before Mr. Kalin came over and opened the gate.
Okay, did you, after you spoke to Mr. Simpson, you got back in the car?
Yes, I did.
And how long after that did Mr. Kalin come over to the gate?
20 or 30 seconds.
And did he open the gate for you?
From what I remember, yes.
And when we're indicating Mr. Simpson, sir, is that somebody you see in court today?
Yes, it is.
Can you please point him out?
He's over here by Mr. Shapiro.
Is that good enough?
Good enough.
Thank you. Okay. Could I ask the court to ask the defendant to stand for a moment, please? You've
Yes,
seen
ma'am.
the defendant, Mr. Park?
Yes.
Can you tell us if that appears to be the size of the person that you saw enter the front entrance of the house at Rockingham?
Overruled. Overruled.
Yes, around the size.
All right, did you, while you were speaking to Mr. Simpson, were you paying attention to what Mr. Kalin was doing?
While I was on the intercom with him?
Right.
No.
So did you see what movements Mr. Kalin made, or where he went, or what he did while you were speaking to the defendant?
No, I didn't.
Did you pull into the driveway after Mr. Kalin opened the gate?
Yes, I did.
And what happened next?
I drove in, pulled the car into the driveway with my driver's window parallel with his front door, popped the trunk and got out of the car.
Okay. And what happened next?
At that time, Mr. Kalin came over to me and said a few things like, is Mr. Simpson running late, or
Sustain.
He asked you a question?
I couldn't remember if it was a question or not. I don't.
Hold on. Next question.
Do you remember if he asked you a question?
Yeah, he asked me if I felt an earthquake.
Oh, all right. Sustain.
Sustained
Right.
what?
It's hearsay. Mr. Park, let me ask you just to listen carefully to the question, answer only the question that's being asked of you. All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Clark.
Can you tell us, sir, when you first pulled up into the driveway, where did you park?
I parked with my driver's side window parallel with the front door of the residence.
Did you notice the front door area when you did that?
Yes.
And what did you see?
The front door was open, and there were a couple of bags on the porch.
Do you remember what kind of bags were on the porch?
Black duffel bags.
Can you show us with your hands how big they were?
About this size.
For the record,
36 inches.
Yeah.
for the record, the witness has held up his hands, what appears to be 36 inches in length. And how high?
Foot and a half, 2 feet.
And the witness so gestured with his hands, it appears. How far open was the front door when you first pulled up to the entrance?
That I don't remember.
And the duffel bags that you saw, could you tell whether they were zipped or unzipped?
One was unzipped.
At that point, was the defendant outside with you when you first pulled up?
No, he wasn't.
After you popped the trunk, did you get out of the car?
Yes, I did.
And did you have a conversation with Mr. Kalin about an earthquake?
Yes, he asked me if I felt one.
I'd like to approach, Your Honor.
All right. With counsel and the court report, please.
I would draw the objection.
All right, thank you, counsel.
Thank you.
Ms. Clark. I think we were discussing Mr. Kalin.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, when you first pulled into the driveway and got out of the car, did you have a conversation with Mr. Kalin?
Yes.
And did he ask you a question?
Yes, he did.
What did he ask you?
He asked me if I felt an earthquake.
Did you feel one?
No, I didn't.
Did you have some further conversation with him about that subject?
Yes, I did.
How did he appear to you, his demeanor, when he was discussing that subject of the earthquake?
Like I said before, I've never met this guy, so he seemed normal to me.
Was he excited, calm, nonchalant, hyper? Pick-
That's leading.
He says yes, we won't know which one was.
Right.
leading, it's
I'm
complex.
I'm asking to pick one, so I won't be leading. One of the above.
No,
None
I
of
don't
the
think it
above?
works quite that way. Try again.
If anything, he seemed concerned.
Concerned?
Yeah.
All right. And what happened after you had that conversation? Did he then ask you for something?
Not at that point, no.
All right. What happened next?
He asked me where I drove up from.
Okay.
He referred to something about, is OJ running late or something like in that sense. That was about it.
Okay. And then what happened?
I was still waiting for the defendant to come out. Mr. Kalin walked to the corner of the garage.
Is that an area you can show us on the diagram that's in marked as People 66E? Okay, this one will be marked E, 66E, Your Honor.
All right.
Can you please direct the pointer?
Yes, it would be the opposite side of where the white line's drawn. down a little farther to that corner, right around there. A little farther out onto the driveway, though.
Okay.
No, back down, back there. There you go. Right there.
All right, could we do a KK there? Or just one? That's fine. Okay, and what did he do when he got to that corner of the garage?
At that point, he stopped, and I was over towards the front walkway by the entrance, and I was petting the dog.
What kind of dog was that?
I think it was a chow, from what I remember.
Color was it?
Black.
Did that dog bark at you at all?
No.
Friendly?
Yeah.
And while you were petting the dog, what was Mr. Kalin doing?
He started to call the dog. He was calling the dog over, but the dog was liking the attention, so he wasn't going anywhere.
So the dog stayed with you, did he?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay. Then what happened?
I think he yelled at the dog a little louder, and it started to go over towards him, and I was just waiting. At that point, I didn't watch him if he walked around or not.
Okay. So you didn't, did you start to put the bags in the car, either in the trunk or in the passenger seat at any point then?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because I was waiting for Mr. Simpson to come down. I didn't even know if he wanted to take those bags.
Okay. What happened next?
At about that time, Mr. Simpson came out of the house.
All right. Can you remember what he was wearing when the defendant came out of the house?
When he came out of the house, he had some stonewashed jeans and a white collared shirt, and he had a black coat with him. I don't remember if he was wearing it or carrying it.
What happened next?
He carried down a what looked like a Gucci bag with him that folded in half. Seemed to be some type of garment bag. He came out and set that on the ground next to the bags, from what I remember. And from there, I picked it up and put that into the trunk. At that time, I seem to remember he walked over to the cars.
Let me back up for a minute. Can you tell us, sir, approximately how long it was between the time you saw the 6-foot, 200-pound person dressed in all dark clothing go into the house and the time you saw Mr. Simpson come out the front entrance?
It was somewhere around 5 and 6 minutes.
And when you had the conversation with Cato at the front entrance, sir, did you happen to notice whether he had anything in his hands?
Yeah, he had a flashlight.
Could you tell whether the beam was dim or strong?
It was pretty dim. It was a small light.
When Mr. Simpson did come out of the house, sir, did you have a conversation with him?
Did I?
Did you?
Not that I remember, no.
He didn't say anything to you?
Not that I remember.
And when the defendant came out, where was Cato?
He was out in the front with me on the driveway.
Okay, was he standing next to you or was he walking? Can you tell us?
I don't remember. I know he was out in the area. I don't know if he was standing right there.
Was he coming back from the garage area?
He might have been.
Okay.
I remember him saying, hi, Juice, or something like that.
What happened next?
At that time, I put the Gucci bag into the trunk, and from what I remember, Mr. Simpson walked over to the cars. What he was doing, grabbing, I don't know.
When you say over to the cars, what direction did you see him walk in?
Towards the Rockingham gate?
Could you see if he went out through the Rockingham gate or not?
No.
You just saw him walk in that direction?
Yes.
Did you happen, the garment bag that you're describing as a Gucci bag, the defendant did not put that in the car himself?
No, I did.
Oral.
Where did you see him do with it? When he brought it downstairs, what did he do with that garment bag?
From what I remember, he either set it down near the other bags or he handed it to me.
And after you put that bag in the trunk, where did the defendant go?
Towards the Rockingham gate, or in that area.
What happened next?
Well, we started putting bags into the car. He walked over and, from what I remember, grabbed the golf clubs.
Who did that?
Mr. Simpson, which,
Did you see him carrying golf clubs with him? You saw Mr. Simpson with golf clubs?
well, I saw him hand them to Cato.
And where was that you saw him hand golf clubs to Cato?
Just towards the front of the limousine.
And was that after he had gone down in the direction of the Rockingham gate?
Yes.
And what did Cato do with the golf bag?
He put them in the trunk.
Then what happened?
After that, Mr. Simpson went into the house a few times. 2 or 3 times he was coming in and out
Did you ever see him bring any more bags out?
of the house.
Yes.
No.
Was the garment bag the only bag that he brought out?
From what I remember, yes.
And that was that the first time that he came out of the house that he brought that bag with him?
I think so.
First time here, that's vague.
Oral.
Was that vague?
Oral.
I can't remember if it was the first or the second.
Well, how many bags did the defendant bring out of the house with him?
Just one.
The garment bag?
Yes.
All right. After that point, how many times did you see him go in and out of the house?
2 or 3.
Okay. And did any more bags come out with him? Did he bring any more bags out with him on those occasions?
No.
Were you able to see what he was doing inside the house when he went back in?
No.
You indicated earlier that at some point you saw the defendant walk down in the direction of the Rockingham gate,
Yes.
after which you saw, I think you said you saw him come back with golf clubs. Is that right?
Object is restated, it's not foundation. Ask an answer.
I'm going to sustain that objection. I think it misstates the evidence.
Oh.
Rephrase the question.
Okay. You said you saw the defendant go down towards the Rockingham gate at some point.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you see him after he went down towards the Rockingham gate?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have anything in his hands at that point?
The golf clubs.
Okay. And those were the golf clubs he gave to Cato?
Yes.
After that, did you see him go back after going in and out of the house a couple times, did you ever see him go back down to the Rockingham gate? Not to the gate, but in that direction?
Yes.
How many times?
After he got the golf clubs?
Yes.
Once or twice.
Did you see what, if anything, he brought back with him on either that once or twice that he went back in the direction of the Rockingham gate after he'd gotten the golf clubs?
Not that I remember, no.
Is it that you don't remember, or that he didn't have anything with him when he came back?
I don't remember.
All right, after Cato put the golf clubs into the trunk, did something ever occur with the duffel bag that you saw in the front entrance when you first pulled up?
Yes, as Mr. Simpson was walking by one of the times, I asked him where he'd like those bags, in the trunk or inside the car. He asked me to put them inside the car.
And did you do that, sir?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever resume your conversation with Cato about the noises, the earthquake?
Yes. He came back and asked me if I had a flashlight, which I went to the car to check, and as I was checking, I remember him saying that he thought we had an earthquake. He talked about a picture moving on his wall, that he heard some thumps, and that he wanted a flashlight so he can to go check it out. And as we were talking about that, I think he was referring to the earthquake. Mr. Simpson overheard us, from what I remember, and he said, as a question, he said, "Oh, we had an earthquake?" As he was walking back into the house.
And then did he have a conversation with Mr. Kalin?
At that time, I don't remember.
Did he walk into the house after making that remark to you? Oh, we had an earthquake?
Who?
Mr. Simpson.
Yes.
And what did Cato Kalin do after Mr. Simpson walked into the house?
Oh, I told him I didn't have a flashlight, and from there on out, I don't remember where he went. I don't know if he went into the house or not at that time.
Did Mr. Simpson come back out of the house?
Yes.
What happened next?
Somewhere in there, one of those times, there was another bag on the driveway.
What kind of bag was that?
It was another, seemed to be small duffel bag.
Can you show with your hands how big that bag was?
From what I can remember, I saw it at a distance. So, from what I can remember, it was smaller than the other two. It was just, a foot and a half by a foot and a half, or a foot and a half by half a foot. It wasn't very big.
And could you tell what color it was?
It seemed to be dark.
Where did you see it? If you can locate the area on this diagram.
It was over here on the Rockingham driveway, a little farther towards the house. Keep going go up a little bit, right around there somewhere.
Could you put a B there? For bag. Is that about right, sir?
Yes.
All right.
And that marking is on people's...
66E?
Yes.
All right. And what drew your attention to that bag?
I think it was when Mr. Simpson gave Cato the golf bags. I was kind of looking in that area. I saw it on the ground.
Okay. Now, what happened with that bag?
There was some time when Cato was asking me for a flashlight. We were standing around the car, and Mr. Simpson came back out.
Out of where?
I couldn't remember. He just came towards the car. We were towards the back of the trunk.
Okay. He came towards the car. Could you tell if he came from the Rockingham gate location or from the house?
I don't remember.
Okay.
He came out, and Cato offered to go get the bag. And he said, no, that's okay, I'll get it. Okay. So he went and got the bag, and as he was getting the bag, I walked around the other side of the car towards the driver's side. And I don't remember if he put that inside the car or in the trunk. I don't remember that.
Okay, so after the defendant said that he would get it, did you see him walk over to the bag
Yes.
and get it?
Yes.
And did you see him come back with it?
Overruled. Overruled.
You can answer.
Yes. Well, actually, I didn't see him come back with it, but he came back towards the car. And like I said, I don't know if he put it inside or in the trunk.
When you say inside, you mean in the passenger area?
Yes.
When he, after he went and picked up the bag, after the defendant went and picked up the bag, at what point did you go around to the driver's side of your car? Where was the defendant when you did that?
When I walked around,
Yes.
he came back from where the bag was,
Okay.
towards the limousine.
So the defendant was on his way back from picking up the bag when you went to the driver's side?
Yeah, as I was walking around, he was coming back.
What happened next?
After that, he went back into the house, and Cato went back in with him. They were standing in the entrance area of the house. What they were saying, I don't know.
Was that in the inside the entrance area of the house?
Yes.
Did they appear to be having a conversation?
Yes.
At the time that the defendant came back from picking up that bag on the driveway area, can you tell us whether the car doors were open or closed?
Overruled.
You can answer.
From what I can remember, both back doors were open, and my driver's door was open.
And what about the trunk? Was it open or closed?
It was still open at that time.
So were all the doors and trunk open except for the one on the front passenger side?
From what I can remember, at some point they were. I mean,
I'm talking about this point. I'm talking about the point when the defendant came back from having picked up that bag on the driveway towards the house.
I know my driver's door was open. I know the driver's door on the driver's door on the back one, the back door on the driver's side was open also. The other one I cannot remember if it was or not, and the trunk was open.
Okay. Could the rear passenger door have been open as well?
Yes.
At the point when the defendant went to get that bag from the driveway, were all the other bags loaded into the car?
Yes, they were.
So that was the last one to go in?
Yes.
And was it after that point that he went and spoke to Cato inside the entrance area of the house?
Overruled.
Yes.
How long did he and Cato speak in the entrance area of the house?
It was very brief, 30 seconds, a minute.
And then what happened?
From what I can remember after that, they both came walking outside. Mr. Simpson said something about searching the property. From what I remember, from what I heard was, you go around one way and I'll go around the other. At that time, I closed the trunk and the doors, the car doors, and Cato started walking over to the corner of the garage where I pointed where he was before, and Mr. Simpson started to go kind of in that direction, and I was going to follow him. I was going to go just see if they need any help. I didn't know what was back there either. So I was going to go, and at that time, Mr. Simpson said, "We got to go."
Okay. So when you say Cato walked down toward the garage, can you show us on this diagram the area he was walking towards, the direction in which he was walking?
From point A to point B, or just the direction he was?
Just, I guess, the direction.
To where the K is, where you put Cato?
He was walking towards that?
Yes.
Hey, do you want to have the arrow point that way? All right. And where did he start from? First of all, who was it that said, you go one way, I'll go the other?
Mr. Simpson.
Okay. And where was Cato and Mr. Simpson standing at that time?
They were standing just a little bit farther back, a little bit towards the house.
Whoa.
Okay.
Making me seasick here.
Yeah.
Am I looking at the dot or the,
Yeah, the dot.
arrow?
Can we,
Okay. It was just a little bit farther down towards the garage. Towards the garage.
towards the garage?
It was in that area.
Are you giving up? Is that,
Practically.
is that about right?
That, yeah.
All right. That's where they started from?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we put K plus S? Okay, and could we put an arrow on that to indicate direction? Underneath it, in between the two? There we go. Well. Can you tell the arrow what direction they were going in? Put the arrow where you want to, Mr. Park.
I'm not seeing the fact that
Overrule.
What fact is it?
Overrule.
To the same way the arrow's pointing, but around the garage.
So, can you move that arrow?
In that direction.
All right. Thank you. Again, this is on 66E. All right. So, who was in the lead walking south towards the garage?
From what I remember, Cato.
And was Mr. Simpson behind him?
Yes.
Did Mr. Kalin have that same flashlight in his hand as the one you'd seen in his hand earlier?
At that point in time, I don't know. He might have gave up on it by then. It wasn't very bright at all.
Okay. And then the defendant, after the defendant said, "We got to go," what happened next?
We both went to the car. I opened the door for him, let him in, and got in the front, and we drove off.
Did you go over and close the trunk of the car, sir?
Yes, before I started to walk with them.
Before you started to go with them south towards the garage area?
Yes.
When you closed the trunk of the car, did you notice which bags were inside the trunk?
No, I didn't look.
You just closed the trunk?
Yes.
What gate did you exit through?
The Rockingham gate?
And how was it opened, if you know?
From what I remember, Cato opened it.
Do you recall what time it was when you went out through the Rockingham gate?
It was around somewhere between 10 after, 15 after 11.
Now, when you exited the Rockingham gate, did you look out onto the street?
Yes. I was watching for traffic.
Okay. And were you looking to see which cars were parked on the curb at that time?
No.
And you were on the driver's side. That would have been the left-hand side of the car, correct?
Yes.
Did you see any traffic approaching as you exited the Rockingham gate?
Yes, from what I remember, there was a car coming from the south or from northbound heading south down Rockingham.
And when you saw that car approaching you, coming south, was it coming towards you from the
Yes.
north? What did you do?
From what I remember, I had to edge out just a little bit. From what I remember, there was a car to the left, and when I came out, something was just obstructing my view over here on the right, and I edged out, and I let the car go by, and then I left.
Okay.
I followed it down.
So when you saw the car approaching the Rockingham gate going north to south, you indicated you saw a car on your left?
Yes.
You mean a car, was it a moving car or was it a parked car?
No, it was parked. It was a little farther down.
On the curb?
Yes.
And you said something was obstructing your vision on the right?
Oral.
You said something was obstructing your view on the right?
Yes.
Was that to the north of the Rockingham gate?
Yes. The area I was looking at the car.
And did you look to pay closer attention to what it was that was obstructing your view to the right of the north, that's to the right north of the Rockingham gate?
No, I was strictly looking at the traffic.
And the object that was obstructing your view, was it stationary, parked, or was it moving? The area that was obstructing your view to the right, the object that was obstructing your view to the right.
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it. I was looking at the traffic.
So you were looking for moving and not parked vehicles at that time?
Yes.
Oral. Angel stand.
And you said after that car passed that was going from north to south, you pulled out?
Yes.
Where did you go then?
I took Rockingham down to Sunset, made a left on Sunset heading east, and was going to the 405 freeway to head south on the 405 and go to LAX. When I was going down Sunset, I was in my left-hand lane because it was the only way I knew how to get onto the freeway was to make a left. And when I was just about to get there, Mr. Simpson told me that you could get on the freeway on the right-hand side. So I got in the right-hand lane. I made a right-hand turn just a little too soon and missed the on-ramp. So he said, that's okay. You could just keep going straight down whatever street it was. There will be another on-ramp a little bit farther down, which he was correct. And got back on the freeway and drove to LAX from there.
So with the defendant's assistance, you made it to the airport?
Yes.
All right. On the way to the airport, did the defendant say anything to you?
Yeah, a few times he repeated how hot he was. 2 or 3 times he said, you know, man, it's hot. And I told him that he can turn the air conditioning on.
And did he?
Which I remember hearing it come on, yes. He also had the seat that he was sitting in, he also had the window down. A couple times, you know, he repeated it doesn't pay to get dressed in a hurry or something like that, or I know I forgot something. I said that usually happens when you're going on a trip. Asked me what time it was.
Mr. Park, let me ask you something. How many times... Well, he's on a narrative. If you don't mind, I'll ask him the next question.
Excuse me, counsel, I thought we agreed we were going to talk to me. Thank you. Proceed.
How many times did the defendant remark to you that he was hot?
He said it pretty quick, right in a row, 2 or 3 times.
And then after the air conditioning and the window were down, did he continue to repeat he was hot?
Sustain. Rephrase the question.
Did he remark on being hot again after the air conditioning was on and the window was down?
Did he remark?
Did he say it again?
No.
Do you recall what the weather was like that night?
From what I remember, it was mild, having our normal June gloom, foggy nights.
About what? About what was the temperature, if you recall?
68, 70 degrees, I don't know.
Were you sweating?
No, I wasn't.
Were you hot?
No.
And did the defendant say something else to you on the way to the airport?
He asked me where a light switch was, and before I could give him an answer, he found one. I was about to tell him on the door back there. Also, we were on the freeway. He asked me what exit I was going to get off on, and he suggested that I take Sepulveda and probably be the quickest.
Could you see what movements he was making as he was sitting in the back seat?
From what I remember, I didn't look back there very much at all. I remember him bending down. You could just see him bent down looking. Seemed like he was just checking his bags to see if he had and everything.
Okay. Could you see some body movements?
No.
Oh,
No, not really.
What could you see that led you to conclude that he was checking his bags or doing something?
That he was bent down off the seat where the bags were on the floor.
And could you hear any sounds as he was doing that?
A little bit, not
Like what?
really.
What did you hear?
Just somebody shifting around in the back, like you're moving. I mean,
And was that before or after he turned on the light?
I don't remember.
For how long was the light on?
Very brief. 20, 30 seconds.
Can you tell what the traffic was like? Do you recall what the traffic was like that night?
It was nice for LA. I mean, there was hardly any cars on the freeway. It was late at night, so it was pretty wide open.
So were you driving pretty fast?
Yes.
About what time did you get to the airport?
It was about 11:35.
And when you got to the airport, where did you pull up to?
I pulled up to the American Airlines terminal.
What did you do when you got to that location?
I got there and I popped the trunk and got out of the car. Mr. Simpson got out and we started to take bags out of the trunk. The first bag I grabbed was the Gucci bag, and at that time he asked me to go get a sky cap.
Okay. When you say the Gucci bag, you mean the garment bag?
Yes.
And after the defendant asked you to get the sky cap, what did you do?
I proceeded to walk over and see if I could find one. All of them said they were busy, so I walked into the terminal part and grabbed a luggage cart.
Okay. When you went to get the sky cap, did you bring the garment bag with you, or did you leave it at the car?
No, I set it on the ground.
And when the defendant got out of the limousine, sir, could you observe him? Was there lighting there that you could see him?
Yes.
Did he get out of the car as soon as you pulled up to the terminal?
I don't know if it was as soon as we got there. I know it was pretty quick after we pulled up.
When you got out of the car, after you parked there, did you see him out of the car? Did you see him get out of the car?
Yeah, I opened the door.
Oh, you opened the door for him?
Yes.
Okay. And then he got out?
Yes.
Could you tell whether or not he looked sweaty?
sustain or rephrase the question.
Could you tell us how he looked? How did he appear?
He seemed to be hot.
And what did you see that made you believe that?
He had a little bit of sweat on his forehead.
All right, so after you So you went to get a sky cap and you couldn't get one, you went to get a luggage carrier. Did you bring one back with you?
Yes, I did.
And when I say back, did you go back to the car with that luggage carrier?
Yes, I did.
About how long a period of time was it between the time you left Mr. Simpson and came back to him with the luggage carrier?
It would have been no more than a minute.
Okay. When you came back to the car, where was Mr. Simpson?
At the trunk of the car.
At the trunk?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Did he have anything in his hands?
From what I remember, he had one of the duffel bags kind of strapped over his shoulder. And as I walked up, he put the golf bags on the cart that I was still holding, and I picked up and put the Gucci bag on the cart.
When you say golf bags, was there more than one golf bag?
No, one. It was a golf bag in a golf bag. I mean, there was a case that covered all the golf bag.
Okay. But was it one item?
Yes.
Who put the golf bag onto the luggage carrier?
Mr. Simpson.
And who put the garment bag on top of the golf bag on the luggage carrier?
From what I remember, I picked it up and put it on top.
And Mr. Simpson had a duffel bag over, one of those duffel bags over his shoulder?
From what I remember, yes.
And that duffel bag that he had over his shoulder, was that the big one that you were describing?
Yeah, it was one of the...
I don't know, we have differentiation in size of the two duffel bags.
Let me ask. You indicated that when you pulled up to the front door at Rockingham that there were two duffel bags in the front entrance?
Yes.
What color were they?
Black.
Were they different sizes?
They were close to the same.
About the same size?
Yes.
And was it one of those duffel bags that you saw Mr. Simpson had over his shoulder when you came back with the luggage carrier?
Yes.
So a golf bag and a garment bag went onto the luggage carrier.
He had the other bag strapped, and from what I remember, carrying the other black duffel bag.
Okay. So one of the large black duffel bags was on his shoulder and the other was in his hand?
Yes.
And the one that was in his hand, was that as large as the one on his shoulder?
It was around the same size.
And then what happened?
We walked over to where you check your baggage in. I set the golf bag on the Skycap's luggage cart along with the Gucci bag, and he carried the other bags with him over to where where you check your luggage in. And he was checking his luggage in. I put the stuff on the cart, and that was about it. I walked over, shook his hand, and he said, "Add 20%, and see you later."
Okay, on your way over to the Skycap, did anybody stop Mr. Simpson?
I couldn't remember exactly what time it took place, but someone from American Airlines asked him for an autograph, yes.
Okay. And was that on the way from the limo to the Skycap?
I'm not positive. If it was before that, when I came back with the cart, I don't know if it happened during that or if it was when we were walking over there.
And-
Mark, would this be a good spot?
I'm just about done,
Okay.
actually.
Conclude.
Is that okay? So did he check the golf bag and the garment bag with the Skycap?
I don't know.
Did you see what he carried on versus what he checked in?
I was gone by then.
Okay. When you went with him from the limo to the Skycap, did you see that small dark bag that you'd seen earlier on the driveway of Rockingham?
Not that I remember.
Okay, well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a recess so I can change court reporters. Please remember my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, allow anybody to communicate with you, or conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. We'll be in recess for 15 minutes. Mr. Park, you may step down, and you're ordered to return in 15 minutes. All right? Thank you, sir. We've now been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Mr. Alan Park is on the witness stand undergoing direct examination by Ms. Clark. Good afternoon again, Mr. Park.
Good afternoon.
You're reminded, sir, you are still under oath, and Ms. Clark, you may continue with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Sir, you indicated that you and Mr. Simpson then walked over to the Sky Cat. You recall testifying to that?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And at that...
Sorry about that.
I'm used to it. And at that time, what was he carrying as you walked over to the Sky Cat?
Well, this is an answer for the
Oral.
He was carrying the 2 black duffel bags.
And did he carry them all the way over to the Sky Cap, sir?
From what I remember, yes.
Did you ever see that small, dark bag after the defendant picked it up off the driveway at Rockingham again?
Not that I remember.
And when you left the defendant, he was at the Sky Caps station?
Yes.
At any time during that night, sir, did he complain to you of pain in his arms or his shoulders or his back
No, he didn't.
or his legs or his feet?
No.
And did he told you to add 20% to the bill?
Yes.
Did you
Oral.
ever get that tip?
Actually, I don't remember.
Okay. Did you see what the defendant carried on the plane versus what he checked in with the Sky Cap?
Sustained.
I forgot. At the point that you left, then, was the defendant still with the Sky Cap, sir?
Yes.
Then you went back to your car?
Yes.
How far from the Sky Cap station did you park?
40 feet, 50 feet, somewhere around there. Wasn't far.
And did you see the defendant tip the Sky Cap?
Did I saw him pulling some money out of his pocket. I never saw him actually tip the Sky Cap, no.
You indicated that during the drive to the airport, sir, the defendant remarked to you as he was seated in the back of the limo you were driving that he forgot something. You recall testifying to that?
Your Honor, that misstates the evidence.
Sustained.
What? Did the defendant say something about having forgotten something to you?
He just said, he said, I know I forgot something.
Did he ever tell you what?
No.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Cochran.
Good afternoon, Mr. Park.
Good afternoon, sir.
ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I might, sir. How long had you worked for Mr. Dale St. John prior to June 12th of 1994?
It was around 2.5, 3 months.
And how long had you been a limousine driver as of June 12th, 1994?
For about 5 months.
And do you know how long Mr. O.J. Simpson had been a client of Mr. Dale St. John's?
I know it's been quite a while. I didn't know the exact months,
More than a year, would you say?
Yes.
More than several years?
Yes.
And was he a valued client to Town and Country at that point?
Yes, I'd say.
And Did you find out on June 12th, 1994, that you'd be taking or picking up Mr. Simpson and taking him to the airport?
Yes, I did.
And how'd you find this out?
From my boss?
And that was Mr. Dill St. John?
Yes.
And Mr. St. John gave you some instructions, did he, about picking up Mr. Simpson?
Yes, he gave me directions and what time. And
All right. He told you to be there, that you should pick him up somewhere around 10:45 p.m., is that correct?
Yes.
And I think you told us that you were aware that Mr. Simpson was going to be leaving on a flight at or around 11:45 p.m. on June 12th, is that correct?
Yes.
And you knew it was an American Airlines flight?
Yes.
All right. Now, did he give you any other special instructions about Mr. Simpson and dealing with Mr. Simpson at all when you first talked with him?
No, not that I remember.
All right. But you knew this was, it was important to the business and important to Mr. St. John to do a good job that night, is that correct?
Yes, of course, always.
And you would want to do that for any particular client, isn't that correct?
Yes.
In this instance, however, this was the first time that you'd ever picked up Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
All right. And as you've described, coming from the South Bay, you did not know how long it would take you to get to the Rockingham location, did you?
Correct.
So you started out early and you got there a little bit early, is that correct?
Yes.
Had Mr. St. John told you that on occasion Mr. Simpson runs late and he's running around late on the way to the airport?
Yes.
He told you that before you got there, and he told you that in that phone conversation also, is that correct?
I don't remember him telling me before. I remember on the phone, yes.
But he told you that in that phone conversation, is that correct?
Yes.
That's when he told you to wait at least until 11:15 p.m., is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, prior to your testimony here today, you've had occasion, have you not, to meet with the district attorneys in this case?
Yes, I have.
And on how many occasions would you, well, strike that. Tell us, when did you first meet Ms. Marsha Clark, the district attorney at the far end of the table?
The first time, I really don't remember.
Was it back in June of 1994?
Yes.
And you talked to her prior to your testimony at the grand jury, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And it'd be a fair statement to say you talked to her prior to your testimony at the preliminary hearing, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And it would be a fair statement to say you talked and gave a statement to police officers Tippin and Carr on or about June 15th, 1994, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And then you had a second interview with Tippin and Carr also on June 15th, 1994, by telephone, isn't that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And prior to your testifying here today, you've had occasion in the recent past to talk to Ms. Marsha Clark, have you?
Yes.
And when did you last talk to her prior to your testimony here today, sir?
Would have been last Friday.
And where did you talk to her at that point?
Here.
And here in this building?
Yes.
In her office?
Yes.
And how long did you talk to her at that time?
It was about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And what time of day was that?
We met at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock a.m.?
Yes.
And is your best recollection that you talked until perhaps about 12:30?
Somewhere around there.
All right.
We were here a little longer, but there was a lot of distractions in between, so.
All right. And after that interview with Ms. Clark on Friday at about 11 o'clock, did you have occasion to talk to her also this morning briefly?
Just here in the courtroom, yes.
All right. And you talked to her during the breaks, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Have you read anything in preparation for your testimony here today? Any of the transcripts from any of the earlier hearings?
Of my own, yes.
Yes, of your testimony?
Yes.
Tell us what you've read, sir.
I've read everything that was taken down by the court reporter.
All right. So you read everything you read your testimony at the grand jury, is that correct?
Yes.
You read your testimony at the preliminary hearing, is that correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all of it, but
But you went through it.
yes.
All right. And you read your two statements to Officers Tippin and Carr back on June 15th, is that correct?
Yes.
And as with all of us, I presume that your memory was better back in June of 1994 for events that had taken place on June 12th than it is now. Is that a fair statement?
That'd be fair to say, yes.
All right. And so in the course of reading and reviewing your testimony, you tried as best you could to refresh your recollection. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, with regard to the evening of June 12th, 1994, that was a Sunday evening, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And as I understand your testimony, you arrived at the Simpson residence fairly early. You got there somewhere earlier than 10:45. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And your idea in getting there early was to make sure you're on time and that you got him to the airport on time. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And one of the reasons you were going to leave at 10:45 or wanted to leave at 10:45 was because you knew you had an 11:45 flight to catch. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Now, as I understand your testimony, even though you had thought about leaving at 10:45, you actually didn't leave until sometime after 11 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, if I understand your testimony again, you left somewhere between 11:05 and 11:15 out of the Rockingham gate. Is that correct?
It would have been somewhere in between there, yes.
Between that time frame.
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, Ms. Clark didn't ask you this, but you had occasion that... she's right,
Sustained.
and let me just strike that from the record, okay? Now, that night, you saw Mr. Simpson for at least the period 10:55 or thereabouts until you dropped him off at the or left him at the airport there at about 11:35. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
All right. And then, as I understand it, you left him with the sky cap, or left him checking his luggage, and then you went on and went back home. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, during this period of time, you had occasion, did you not, to see Mr. Simpson's hands, didn't you?
Yes.
In fact, you described for us that at one point you shook his hand, his right hand. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you saw him, I think you've described for us, coming down the stairs carrying some bags with his hands. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And did you ever see any Band-Aids on his left hand, on his left knuckle, middle finger here?
No.
All right. You didn't see any cuts on his hands that evening, did you?
No.
And you didn't see Mr. Simpson bleeding that evening, did you?
No.
Didn't notice anything unusual at all regarding his hands, did you?
No.
Now, with regard to the events of that evening, as I understand it, you described for us that you would push this bell on the outside. And did you find that if you pushed the bell just once, that it continued to ring for a period of time? Could you hear it ring?
I don't remember that. I remember it made a noise.
All right. You remember hearing some noise in the distance, did you?
Yeah.
All right. And of course, you had never pushed that bell before. Is that correct?
No, I haven't.
Now, did you ever, on that date or any time that evening, have any instructions from Mr. Dale St. John with regard to how he would come and pick up Mr. Simpson and whether or not Mr. Simpson would open the gate for him? Did you ever talk to him about that?
No.
And he never instructed you about that at all?
No.
Is that correct? All right. But you were aware that Mr. St. John had picked up Mr. Simpson on a number of occasions before June 12th?
Yes.
All right. Do you know how many times he picked him up?
I know it's numerous.
And, well, how many?
I wouldn't know.
But numerous occasions.
Yes.
And he was the regular driver for Mr. Simpson, is that correct?
Yes, he was.
All right. Now, as I understand it, when you first drove up, you at some point ended up parking across from the Ashford gate and got out of your vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
You just kind of waited, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you described for us this was a Sunday evening, is that correct?
Yes.
And that particular night on Sunday evening after 10:30, between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, would you say that it was fairly quiet out there on that street that night?
It was very quiet.
And you could hear noises attendant to the street that particular night from your location, could you not?
Yes, you could.
And I think you described for us that at some point you parked the car there on Ashford and you got out of your car and I think you had a cigarette, is that correct?
Yes.
So you were outside?
Yes.
All right. And at any time while you were out there that night, did you ever hear a car drive up, or hear the sound of a car drive up and stop anywhere around there?
Or will
No, I heard cars. I heard
Yes.
cars go by, but I never heard a car pull up and stop, no.
Right, I understand. You heard and you saw cars go by, did you not?
Yes.
Right, but you never saw a car or heard a car drive up and come to a stop, did
No.
you didn't hear,
Overruled.
you didn't hear any doors slam that particular night, did you?
No.
You didn't see any lights on that all of a sudden came to a stop and were turned off that particular evening, did you?
No.
And would I be correct in assuming that what you were most concerned with that particular evening was finding out if Mr. Simpson was at home, getting him so you could get to the airport? Is that your concern?
Yes.
At that time, it wasn't so important to you, I presume, as to what cars were parked where on the street. That wasn't important to you, was it?
No, not at all.
And you weren't thinking about that at all, is that right?
Not at all.
In fact, you recall testifying at the preliminary hearing with regard to whether or not you'd looked at for any parked cars, don't you? Remember so testifying and being asked questions about parked cars on the street at or near Rockingham that day?
Yes.
And do you recall, counsel, page 40, counsel, of the preliminary hearing transcript? Sorry. And I'm looking at beginning at line 15. The counsel has it now, Your Honor. Do you recall being asked these questions and giving these responses back at the preliminary hearing in this matter? Question.
All right. Let me see
Can I have a
counsel
copy?
sidebar with the transcript. Thank you, counsel.
Do you recall at the preliminary hearing being asked this series of questions by Ms. Clark and giving this response? Question. What gate did you leave from? Let's strike that. Let's start at line 13. Question. Then did you leave? Answer, yes. Question. What gate did you leave from? Answer, the Rockingham gate. Question. And which way did you go on the Rockingham? Strike that. And which way did you go on Rockingham as you exited the gate? Answer, I made a left. Question. Did you look to see whether any cars were parked on the right side as you faced the driveway of Rockingham outside the residence? Answer, I didn't look to see. Question. You weren't looking at the parked cars? Answer, yeah. Remember so testifying at the preliminary hearing?
Yes, I do.
And when you gave that answer about any cars being...
Could you keep limited to completeness if the passage that deals with this area?
All right. You can do that on redirect, counsel.
It doesn't matter. I mean, just to save some time, let me just do it now to save some time.
All right.
In the spirit of cooperation, please allow me to.
Thank you.
Question. Were you looking to see if there was some traffic? Answer, yes, of course. Can you tell us how many bags the defendant loaded into the car? Is that far enough? No? I keep going. All right. And at the time you gave that testimony, you were being as accurate as you could and under oath. Isn't that correct, sir?
Yes.
All right. And then you also had occasion to testify at the grand jury. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And do you recall being asked these series of questions by Ms. Clark, beginning, Ms. Clark, at page 270. Let's begin at line 21. And we'll go all the way over to line 12 on page 272. all the way to, read all the way to the end, 272, line 12 to the end. All right. Recall being asked this series of questions by Ms. Marsha Clark at the grand jury on or about June 17th, 1994. Question: when you pulled out of the driveway of the suspect's house, what driveway exit did you use, Ashford or Rockingham? Answer: Rockingham. Question: when you pulled out of the Rockingham gate, were you able to see any car parked on the street next to that gate? Answer: there was a vehicle to my left. When I was exiting, I noticed I had to look around the vehicle. I never noticed what kind of vehicle it was. I didn't pay any attention to that, but there was a vehicle there. Question: you say a vehicle to your left. That would be the area I'm indicating with my pen. Do you remember that she then pointed out something on the map?
Yes.
Okay, correct. Why don't you mark that? You said you noticed a vehicle down there. That is, to your left is the driver's compartment.
Yes.
Yes, witness complies. Question: go ahead and have a seat. You exited out of the gate that feeds onto Rockingham. Is that right?
Yes.
Answer: yes. So you were on the left side of your car, right? Answer: yes. And you were going to make a left out of the gate. Answer: that's correct. Question: so you're looking to your left for traffic, for oncoming traffic. Answer: yeah, both ways. Question: did you attempt to look very carefully to see whether strike that. Did you attempt to look very carefully to see whether cars were parked on the other side of the driveway? Answer: there were no cars. Question: that's to the right side. Are you sure? Answer:
That's to the right side, it was not in the transcript.
oh, I was just trying to see, strike that. I was trying to make it clear for the witness. Right.
All right.
Are you sure? Answer: I'm pretty sure. Question: did you make an effort to look and see if there were any cars there? Answer: I looked to the right to see if there were any cars coming down the street. Question: well, I'm asking you if you made an effort to see if there was a car parked. Answer: no. Question by Ms. Clark: there might have been a car parked there and you didn't see it. Answer: correct. Do you recall so testifying at the grand jury?
Yes, I do.
And again, the events were fresh in your mind at that point on about June 17th, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Now, you also had occasion to be interviewed by Officers Tippin and Carr on or about June 15th, 1994, the first time being 9:40 in the morning, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And at that time, you gave them a complete statement of what you'd observed back on June 12th. Isn't that a fair statement?
Yes.
And then you had occasion, after making the statement that morning, to telephonically speak with Tippin and Carr to give a further statement. Isn't that correct? A re-interview?
That's correct.
Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you've had occasion to read that, have you not?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And do you remember telling Officers Tippin and Carr that you didn't recall seeing a car parked in front of the residence when you stopped near the Rockingham gate? Remember telling them that?
Yes.
And that was your state of mind at the time you talked to them, isn't that correct?
Yes, it is.
In fact, in none of the statements or in none of the places where you've testified have you ever testified about having your view obstructed at all to the right, have you, before today?
No.
This today was the first time we've heard that, is
Yes.
that right? All right. Now, let's go back to the time when you got onto the premises there at Rockingham.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, as I understand it, you drove this stretch limousine onto the premises there at Rockingham, is that correct?
Yes.
And you were let in on the gate by Mr. Cato Kalin, is that correct?
From what I remember, yes.
All right. And do you recall him coming out and opening the gate or opening the gate somewhere rather?
Yes.
And this is after you'd had a conversation with Mr. Simpson, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And so that we're clear, you'd never talked to Mr. Simpson before personally, is that correct?
No.
But it was your belief was Mr. Simpson you were talking to because the voice that you heard sounded just like the voice that you heard on television broadcast, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And in that conversation, Mr. Simpson told you he just got out of the shower?
Yes, he did.
And that he said he was overslept, he'd overslept?
Yes.
That he'd be down shortly, words to that effect, is that right?
Yes.
Now, even after you talked to Mr. Simpson, the gate didn't come on at that point, did it?
No.
And did you ever have a conversation with him that night wherein he told you that he didn't like to open the gate because the dog would get out when that gate was open? You remember ever talking to him about that, Ron?
No.
There was a black chow inside the residence there, is there?
Yes.
And that was the dog that you were petting at some point.
Yes.
All right. And, but you didn't have a conversation with Mr. Simpson about that chow and his propensity to go outside?
No, not that I remember, no.
All right. So, at any rate, after you talked with Mr. Simpson, it was Mr. Cato Kalin who you'd seen first, who came over and let you in somewhere there. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, with regard to this person that you have indicated that you saw somewhere out there in the driveway area, and you've described it with some particularity, so I won't go into that in detail. Could this person have had a robe on?
Could have.
All right. You couldn't tell from your distance. You just saw a person about 6 foot that you thought was about 200 pounds, right?
Yes.
That was an African American in dark clothing, right?
Yes.
All right. And would I be correct in assuming that you saw this person only for a short period of time as that person was going into this entranceway to the residence? Is that correct?
Yes.
And how long would you say you saw that person?
It was very short.
Just in
Seconds.
seconds?
Yes.
Just a couple of seconds?
Yes.
And as I understand it, Ms. Clark asked you some questions about glasses. Were you wearing your glasses that night?
No.
All right. It was a short period of time, and then, as I understood your testimony, this person that you've described for us appeared to go inside the residence. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And there was a gap of no more than 5 or 6 minutes between the first time you actually could see and identify Mr. O.J. Simpson that evening. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you saw Mr. Simpson, by this time you'd pulled into the driveway area. Isn't that right?
Repeat that?
Okay. When you saw Mr. Simpson come down and come out of the house, you had, by this time, pulled into the driveway area.
Yes.
Right? And as I understand it, were you inside the stretch limousine at that point or not?
When he came out?
Yes, when Mr. Simpson
No,
came
I was outside.
You were outside the vehicle?
Yes.
All right, and you pulled it in, and would I be correct if I had a word picture of you that the driver's door of the limousine, the front driver's door, was somewhere in front of the front door of the residence there at 360?
Yes.
And where were you standing when Mr. Simpson came out?
From what I remember, it was somewhere in that vicinity of the front end of the limousine.
All right. And as I understand your testimony, when you drove into this location, there were already some bags already out there. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
So now, so that we're clear, I want you to describe for this court and jury what bags did you see after you gained entrance into the Rockingham driveway? Tell us what you saw on the ground or in and around the premises there that were already out.
The only bags that I saw at that time were just the 2 duffel bags on the porch.
And these were the bags that you described as being dark in color?
Yes.
And that you, I think, indicated that at least in length, were they both about 3 feet?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I think the court said something like 36 inches, do you recall?
Yes.
And about how tall were they?
A foot and a half.
All right, and these were 2 black, for want of a better word, we'll call them duffel bags. And where were they when you first saw them?
They would be on the entranceway of the house, just at the end of the patio by the driveway.
The end of the patio by the driveway?
Yes.
I have to slow down. Okay. I find one of those photographs. Thank you. You recall having been asked some questions about this particular exhibit on direct examination, do you not?
Yes.
And I want you to look at People 66E for identification. And I want you to tell the jury, if you will, where these 2 black duffel bags were when you drove into that driveway.
From what I remember, they would be just a little bit closer to the entranceway behind the Y in driveway.
I missed that, I'm sorry. It was near where?
Behind the Y in driveway, just
right.
a little bit past that, towards the corner.
So would I be correct in assuming that it would be between the Y and driveway on Peoples 66, between the Y and that circle that approaches the entranceway?
Yes, that'd be about right.
And where were they? Where were they, on the ground, or were they on some objects, or what at that point?
They were on the ground.
All right, they were just on the ground there, is that
Yes.
correct? And what was the condition of the door, what apparently is the front door of that residence, as you pulled in there? Was it open or closed or what?
It was open.
All right, and did you see some light emanating from inside the residence?
Yes.
All right, and at that point you didn't see Mr. Simpson, is that correct?
No.
Did you see Cato Kalin at that point?
Yes.
And was Cato Kalin somewhere out on that driveway area there?
Yes,
at
he
that
was.
time?
Yes.
All right. So now at that point, you described the two black duffel bags and where they were. Did you see some other bags that were in and around on that driveway area after you saw the two duffel bags, sir?
Later on, I saw the one duffel bag where it's marked B.
All right, and that was later on and prior to the time that you left, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and that bag that's marked B on, this is People 66E, from the front of your vehicle to where that B is marked there in the driveway, how far is that?
That's probably about 20 feet, 25 feet.
All right, and how close did you get to that smaller bag?
Not very close.
About 20, 25 feet away?
Yeah.
Okay, that's as close as you got.
Yes.
Okay, and can you again describe that? What color was that bag?
Just seemed to be dark from where I was.
All right.
It was dark in that area.
All right, and so you just saw it from a distance, and is that correct?
Yes.
And you weren't wearing your glasses at that point?
No.
All right, so that was the third bag that you saw?
Yes.
Did you see some other bag out there in the driveway area prior to the time that you left?
No.
All right, you described for us the golf clubs at some point.
Yes.
And when is the first time you saw the golf clubs?
When Mr. Simpson got them.
And your recollection is, where did Mr. Simpson get the golf clubs from?
I didn't see that.
You just saw him with the golf clubs?
I saw him hand them to Cato.
All right, you don't know where he'd gotten them from?
No.
And prior to Mr. Simpson handing these golf clubs to Cato Kalin, you hadn't seen where he got them, right?
No.
Okay. You did describe for us, did you not, that the golf clubs appeared to be like a bag within a bag or something of that nature?
Yes.
Can you describe that with greater particularity?
It was just an all black sheath over the golf bags that had a Swiss Army emblem on it.
Yes. And so if I understand you correctly, you couldn't see the golf clubs themselves, is that correct? They were all covered up by another bag that was over the golf bag.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this sheath that was over the golf bag had some sort of a Swiss Army emblem?
Yes.
All right. And what color was that?
The emblem?
Yes.
White.
And what color was the bag?
Black.
Now, after this 5 or 6 minute period of time that Mr. Simpson came out the entranceway you've described for us, you described for us earlier he was carrying some sort of a bag. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And what kind of bag was that?
It was a garment bag that resembled the Gucci bag pattern.
All right. Well, let me, you've been saying Gucci pattern. Do you know the difference between Louis Vuitton and Gucci?
No.
All right. If I were, you don't, do you? Okay. I'm trying to see.
Don't look at me.
No, I wouldn't. Somebody here has one, but tomorrow. Okay. But so when you say it looks like Gucci pattern, you know it's one of those designer patterns. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
So have you ever seen those bags with those little LVs on them that are kind of brown? LV standing for Louis Vuitton?
I can't say I have.
All right. If you were to ever see any of these bags again, do you think you'd recognize them?
Yes.
All right. At any rate, whatever this bag said, it had some writing on it. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what color was it?
It was a beige.
All right, and this bag was, how did you see Mr. Simpson with this bag when he came out that front door? How was he carrying it?
Yeah, from what I remember, it was a bag that it folded in half.
All right.
Had a handle in the middle, from
Yes.
what I remember. And
He was carrying it, was he?
yeah,
All right, and you saw him carrying it in his hands, is that right?
yes,
Okay, and did he place that bag down somewhere when he first came down?
from what I remember, he set it by the other duffel bags.
So at that point, there'd be perhaps 3 bags, the 2 black duffel bags and this designer bag. We'll call it designer bag. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. So at this point, you know about those 3, plus later on you see the bag marked at B at 66E. Is that correct?
yes.
And at this point, you have not seen the golf clubs, or have you?
No.
Okay. Now, when you first see Mr. Simpson, did the 2 of you greet each other at that point?
I can't remember that. Or,
All right. Is he apparently rushing around at this point?
yes.
All right. What time is it by now?
Now it is about right around 11 o'clock, a little bit after.
All right, right on 11 or shortly after 11, is that
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
do you have some concern at this point about making your flight?
Yes,
And now this is the first time you've ever picked up O.J. Simpson, and do you kind of want to be on time?
yes.
You wouldn't want to miss that flight?
I wouldn't want him to.
All right. And you wouldn't want to do that for any client, including Mr. Simpson. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Okay. So you had some concern about time.
Yes.
Okay. Describe for the jury again, if you would, what Mr. Simpson was wearing, as best you can recall, on that particular evening.
It was kind of some stonewashed jeans.
All right. By stonewash jeans, is that lighter colored blue jeans?
Yes.
All right. And as though they've been actually pre-washed or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of top, if any, was he wearing at that point?
He had a white shirt on, white collared shirt. Seemed to be almost like a polo shirt, short sleeve.
Did you see whether or not he had any kind of shirt over this white shirt you've described for us?
From what I remember, he had a black coat with him. For some reason, I don't think he was wearing it the whole time.
All right,
I'm not.
This black coat that you described, do you recall that he may have had it in his hands or something of that nature?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall him wearing any kind of a jean shirt top over this white shirt you've described for us?
No.
Do you recall anything else about his attire or his raiment that particular night?
No, I didn't pay too much attention to it.
So at this point, would I be again correct that you were concerned about getting out of there at some point?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, I wasn't worrying about clothes.
All right, I understand. And that wasn't important to you at that point, was it?
No.
Okay. So you saw him briefly. You knew now that there was luggage all around. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you knew that Cato Kalin was in and about, and he had some concerns about a perceived earthquake or some noise. Is that right?
Yes.
And you saw him with his little tiny flashlight, right?
Yes.
It didn't give off much light.
Correct.
All right. And at some point you described for us how Mr. Kalin had tried at point K to get the dog. By the way, do you remember what he called the dog?
Yes.
What was it? What was the dog's name, if you recall?
It was,
Would it refresh your recollection if I said Chachi?
yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yes.
All right. So when he was calling for this dog Chachi to come with him, that was the name he used. Is that right?
That he used?
Yeah. When you said that he tried to call the
Yes.
dog? All right. And you were petting the dog?
Yes.
All right. Now, you also described for us, sir, that Mr. Simpson and Mr. Cato Kalin went into the house on a number of occasions. Do you recall that?
I remember Simpson on a number of occasions. I don't remember Cato. I
Okay.
remember they were in the house together at one time, yes.
All right. Let's take Mr. Simpson first, if we can. This is after Mr. Simpson has come out and brought this designer bag and put it down. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this is after now 11 o'clock. Is that right?
That's fair to say, yes.
And on how many occasions did you see Mr. Simpson go back into the residence there?
It was 2 or 3 times.
All right. And did he go back through that area marked entrance there, the front entrance there, on People's 66E for identification?
Yes.
And do you recall how long he stayed in the house on each occasion?
No.
All right. but you saw him go in at least 2 or 3 times, is that right?
Yes.
And did you ever walk up and look at the entryway or the foyer area of that particular residence?
I remember at one time, I think I was actually standing inside there just for a couple seconds.
Inside the foyer?
Yes.
Let me show you that area and see if it refreshes recollection of where you had this area. Let me first indulge us, put People's 112 for identification and ask Mr. Park to take a look at that.
All right.
Do you recall that that appears to be the foyer area into the front of the Simpson residence that particular night?
Yes.
That seems familiar to you?
Yes.
And you see the front door there in that picture with the kind of the stained glass windows?
Yes, I do.
And that's the door that you were describing earlier as having been open, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's your testimony that from the time you saw Mr. Simpson come out of the residence and before you left to go to the airport, Mr. Simpson came back inside that residence 2 to 3 times, right?
Yes.
On one of those occasions, Cato Kalin came inside with him also, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell us where Cato Kalin was or how far in the residence he came at that point? On that one occasion?
From what I remember, he was just standing in that area.
And when you say in that area, what are we talking about?
In the general area of the entranceway, just in, he never left the, he never went through any other doors or went upstairs or nothing.
All right. So when you say in that area, you're talking, you see the area that has apparently the wood floors there?
Yes.
That's the general area you're talking about,
Yes.
right? So you saw Cato Kalin standing in that area, at least on the one occasion he came in,
Yes.
after 11 o'clock. Now, is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then you described for us, sir, that you also may have come in part of the way at some point. Is that correct?
Yes.
And can you describe for the jury again where you would have been and where you were?
I would have just been maybe 2 or 3 feet inside the front door.
All right. Again, you were far enough inside the front door so that you would be on the wood floor, the hardwood floors?
Yes.
All right. And was that at the time when Cato Kalin was there, or was that at the time when Mr. Simpson was inside there, if you recall?
I don't recall. I can't remember that.
You just know that on some occasion you came inside, or at least 2 to 3 feet inside that door,
On one, yes.
as depicted in People's 112 for identification.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And if that door were open, your vehicle would be parked directly across from the door, with the driver's side door somewhat parallel to the front door of the Simpson residence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, when you were inside that foyer area, some 2 to 3 feet inside there, did you see Mr. Simpson at that point where he was?
From what I remember when I was in there, he was in the front area also,
All right,
where I was.
All right, when you say front area, well, where was he in relation to where you were, sir?
Would have been farther back into the house.
All right,
Just from what I remember, there's a wall.
All right. So let's assume, if I can get a word picture from you, if you were 2 to 3 feet inside the door there, Mr. Simpson would be toward the foreground of this particular picture. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, would he be closer to where that plant is? Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall at any point seeing him go into some other room downstairs in the house while you were in there?
I can't remember that. I wasn't in there very long. I remember turning around and...
You described for the court of jury that at some point Mr. Simpson overheard a conversation between you and Cato Kalin regarding this earthquake. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then Mr. Simpson asked in kind of quizzical tones, oh, do we have an earthquake? Where's that effect?
Yes.
And was Mr. Simpson outside there when Cato Kalin asked you if you had a larger flashlight?
I'm not positive, no.
Did you ever hear Mr. Simpson make reference to a flashlight or possibly having a flashlight inside the house at all?
No.
Do you know whether or not he ever went inside looking for a flashlight?
Simpson or Cato?
Mr. Simpson.
No, not that I remember, no.
Or Mr. Cato?
No.
Did you ever hear Mr. Simpson make reference to looking for his phone book or having his phone book?
No.
Did you ever see a portable phone in Mr. Simpson's hands at any time that night?
Not that I remember.
So, at any rate, after these 2 or 3 times that Mr. Simpson came inside the residence, at some point, he went back outside in the driveway area. Is that correct?
Yes.
By the way, in the driveway, did you see any spots or anything on the driveway?
No, I didn't.
See any spots in the house at all?
No, I didn't.
All right, you didn't notice any spots anywhere, did you?
No.
All right. And as you drove your car in that driveway and out the Rockingham gate, you weren't mindful or cognizant of any spots that may or may not have been there?
No.
How long would you say that the limousine, the stretch limousine, was parked right outside the front door of the Rockingham residence before you had occasion to move it?
How long was it parked in his driveway?
Yes, in his driveway before you left to go to the airport.
10, 15 minutes, if that.
At most. So what time would you place yourself as getting in there and pulling into the driveway? What time would that be?
That would be at about 10:56, 10:57,
About 10:56, 10:57?
somewhere around there, yes.
And you had seen this figure that you've described in dark clothing while you're on the phone with Dale St. John, is that correct?
Yes.
And that would have been after 10:52.17, is that correct?
Yes.
And it was prior to the end of your conversation with Dale St. John, which was at 10:55 and 12 seconds, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you tell us that you continued to talk to St. John for a period of time after you saw this figure?
Yes, just for very briefly, a few seconds.
All right. So would your estimate be that you saw this figure somewhere between 10:54 and 10:55?
Yes.
And you can then concluded your conversation with St. John, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And then, as I understand it, you then shortly thereafter gained entrance to the Rockingham estate there, is that right?
Yes.
Because of Cato Kalin. And you would place that within a couple of minutes that you got inside?
Yes.
And then you were then in there for approximately 10 to 15 minutes, is that correct?
Yes.
And you believe that you left the Rockingham residence somewhere between 11:05 and 11:15 is your best recollection. Is that correct?
Yes. I know it was after 11:05.
After 11:05?
Yeah.
And maybe before 11:15?
Yes.
All right.
It wasn't after 11:15. It
Okay.
wasn't before 11:05.
So it was after 11:05 and before 11:15 probably.
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
All right. Now, at some point, you described for us that you got all of these bags were assembled. In fact, you put some bags into the vehicle yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you put which bags did you put inside the vehicle?
I put in the designer bag into the trunk,
Okay.
and the 2 duffel bags that were on the porch. I asked him where he'd like those,
Yes, sir.
and he said he wanted those inside the car.
All right. And you described, I believe, in response to one of Mr. Clark's questions, that one of these black duffel bags was unzipped. Is that correct?
Yes.
But did you look inside and see the contents?
No.
All right.
Wasn't
That
paying
would be
attention.
bad form, right?
Yes.
To peek in somebody's
Yes.
luggage. So you didn't do that, did you?
No.
All right. At any rate, you just you put those 2 bags inside the car.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you participate in putting any other bags inside that car?
Not that I remember. I might have readjusted the golf bags with Cato or something.
And Cato after being handed the golf bag, is your recommendation? Strike that. Your recollection is that Cato Kalin actually put this golf bag into the limousine at some point. Is that right?
Yes.
And he received it. Your recollection is he received it from Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
right? And where did he put the golf bag?
Into the trunk.
And with regard to the bag, the smaller bag we've been talking about, marked at B there on the diagram that's now up again, it's item 66E. You don't recall whether that bag was placed inside or inside the vehicle or in the trunk of the vehicle, do you?
Correct.
You don't know?
No.
All right. Now, so at some point, all the bags are in the car, and you're about ready to leave at that point. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us where was Cato Kalin at the point when you were just about to leave the residence?
He was just about where the K is. He was in that area.
All right. And this was prior to, this is about the location he is, and for the record, Your Honor, there are two Ks, so which K are you talking about? The blue K or the green K?
Yes. Down by the corner of the garage, the
All
blue
right,
K.
The blue K, down by the corner of the garage?
Yes.
And that was after the conversation that you heard wherein Mr. Simpson was going to go one way and he was going to go the other way to look for this sound or this noise, is that right?
Yes.
And then Mr. Simpson noticed what time it was, and he said, we got to go, is that right?
Correct.
And you endorsed that and agreed with that, did you not?
But yes,
That's
I
pretty-
thought we should have left a while ago.
All right, you were already kind of late as far as you were concerned.
Yes.
All right. And this was fairly unfamiliar territory for you, I presume. You had not ever gone to LAX from the Rockingham location, is that right?
Correct.
All right. So you left Cato at point K, blue K, Your Honor, on 66E. And then did you then prepare to leave the residence?
Yes.
All right. And as I understand it, in response to questions that I'd asked you earlier from the grand jury and the preliminary hearing testimony, you then proceeded out the Rockingham gate, is that correct?
Correct.
And does that gate open automatically when you drive up to it?
I think
recall?
Cato had to open it.
All right, you think that Cato came and opened it?
Yeah, he walked back over.
All right, so then he then left point K, blue K, and walked over to the front there on the Rockingham?
Correct.
All right. And that's when you then pulled out onto Rockingham, and you turned left, is that right?
Correct.
To go back where you were going towards Sunset?
Yes.
And as I understand your testimony, then now you and Mr. Simpson, of course, are alone in the car, right?
Yes.
And he gives you some directions about how to get to LAX, does he?
Not at that point, no.
Right. I mean,
Just-
at some point during the ride.
Yes.
All right. You know how to get back to Sunset, right?
Yes.
All right. But as I understand it, that when you get down to Sunset and the 405, you believe that you have to turn left to go up by that kind of circular hotel there?
Yes, because in previous jobs, I used to deliver some equipment to UCLA,
Yes.
so I used to come back across the bridge and then go around that way. So I thought that was the only way back on the freeway. I didn't know there was another one on the right side, which he told me.
Mr. Simpson told you about
Yes.
the way you could go to the right or south, is that right?
Exactly.
And as I understand your testimony, you missed that. You missed the first on-ramp going south on the 405, is that right?
Yes.
But you were told that if you continued going southbound on the surface streets, you'd run into another on-ramp.
Yes.
And you did that, did you not?
Yes.
And at some point, he also gave you some guidance with regard to getting off at Sepulveda to save some time?
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, you described in response to one of Ms. Clark's questions that it was a June night that I believe you said it was somewhere perhaps 68 to 70 degrees, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
All right, it was June, and Mr. Simpson said to you on a couple of occasions, maybe two, possibly three occasions in a row, that I'm hot. Words to that effect, is that correct?
Yes.
And you told him or showed him where the air conditioning was, is that correct?
I don't know if I showed him. I told him that he can use the air conditioning.
And you could hear the air conditioning coming on?
Yes.
All right. And in most limousines, there's a partition between where the client sits and where the limousine driver sits. And was that partition down during the course of your ride?
Yes.
So the two of you could talk back and forth, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And as you drove up, did you drive fairly rapidly?
Yes.
Because you wanted to make this flight again. Is that right?
Correct.
So you got on the 405 and we're moving out, right?
Yes.
Okay. You described that at some point, did Mr. Simpson ask you where the light was back there? In the rear compartment?
Yeah, he asked me where a light was.
And as I understand what you said to Ms. Clark was the light was only on briefly for perhaps 20 to 30 seconds at most. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Simpson said something to the effect that I was rushing around trying to get packed. I'm sure I'm forgetting something or words to that effect. Isn't that correct?
Yes, everybody says that.
All right. And that didn't seem out of the ordinary to you, did it?
No.
All right. And you had, in fact, seen him rushing around. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And he had also told you he'd taken a shower. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
So you didn't think it unusual that he was sweating occasionally, did you? having rushed around and taken a shower. It wasn't unusual he might be sweating, was it?
No.
And so you just continued to drive at this point as you had some conversation, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, as your best recollection is that Mr. Simpson had the 2 duffel bags in the back with him, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. You don't recall any other bags at that point, do you?
Back there with him?
Yes, back there.
No.
Okay. And did that limousine have a phone in the back of it?
Yes, it did.
He didn't use the phone at that point either, did he?
No.
All right. So the 2 of you were just intent on getting to the airport, is that right?
Correct.
And as I understand it, you got to the airport by 11:35.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And how long was the drive altogether, your best recollection?
It was pretty fast. It couldn't have been not much more than 10 minutes.
You got there pretty fast?
Yeah, 10, maybe a little bit longer.
How fast were you driving?
I'm 75, hitting 80 some parts.
All right. You were going pretty fast.
Yes.
Okay. And so you got there, and then you went around to American Airlines, you went around to Terminal 4, right, at American Airlines?
Correct.
And you pulled up to the curb, did you?
Not all the way to the curb, no. I think there might have been another car.
You got as close as you could.
Yes.
And Mr. Simpson asked you if you would help by getting a sky cap?
Yes.
And as I understand it, you weren't able to get a sky cap, but ultimately you got one of those carts and brought it over.
Yes.
Is that correct? And you let Mr. Simpson out of the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, with regard to that, it's your recollection that at some time after Mr. Simpson got out, and although his plane was leaving in about 10 minutes, somebody approached him and asked an autograph?
Yes.
And did you see him accommodate that individual?
Yes, he did.
And did he sign the autograph?
Yeah. Yes.
He also took the time to ask you or to tell you to add 20% to the bill?
Yes.
Did you do that?
I told Dale that's what he said, and he said, okay, no problem.
All right.
Actually, I told Dale 50%, but
Did you?
no.
Kidding, I'm sure.
Yes.
But at any rate, but you did, in fact, follow through with what Mr. Simpson had said about your services there.
Yes.
Okay. And you took that you'd done a good job in getting him there to the airport, is that correct?
Yes. And he made it.
Huh?
He made it.
He did make it.
Yeah.
And then how long did you, from the time you got there at 11:35, how long did you remain with Mr. Simpson at that point?
Not very long at all.
In minutes, your best estimate?
3-4 minutes.
So would it be a fair statement to say that you last saw Mr. Simpson somewhere 11:38, 11:39 that particular night? That'd be a fair
Yes.
statement? All right, and then you still believe that his flight would be leaving at about 11:45, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And in the sequence of events, when did this person approach him to get the autograph? I mean, was it after you went and got the cart, or at what point was that?
I can't remember if it was right when we got out of the car to start with the bags, or if it was when we started to walk up to the sky cap. I just remember the scenario happening.
All right. And you and Mr. Simpson participated in putting the luggage on this particular cart, is that correct?
Yes.
And then the cart was then taken inside the terminal there for American Airlines?
No, the cart I pushed over, and the SkyCap had the bigger luggage cart, which I put the golf bags and the designer bag onto.
All right.
And that
So
was
that
about
was
when I left.
Was that outside on that walkway in front of Terminal 4?
Yes, it was.
It's kind of like curbside check-in.
Yes.
And this big kind of dolly or whatever would be used to go on the conveyor belt to get on the plane. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was there some mention of the fact that this had to be expedited at this point?
Not that I know of, no.
All right. At any rate, you were asked a question with regard to Mr. Simpson's tip. Not for you, but for the SkyCap. And you recall that at some point, Mr. Simpson reached into his pocket and took some change out?
Yes.
And now where were you at that point?
That was right when I was done putting the golf clubs and the designer bag on the bigger cart. And that's when I turned around. He was getting some money out of his pocket, and that's when I said, See you later.
Okay, and that was you, at that point, you were still out there on that walkway in front of American Airlines or Terminal 4?
Yes.
And you saw him at that point reach into his pocket, but you didn't see whether he handed, what he handed the sky cap?
No.
All right. So that's the last time you saw him then?
Yes.
You then got back into your vehicle and took off, is that correct?
Correct.
There was no, all the luggage had been taken out of the car, is that correct?
Yes.
There's no blood in the back of that car, was there?
No.
No blood on the carpet of that car, was there?
No.
You didn't see him bleeding that night, did you?
No.
And there's nothing about Mr. Simpson that seemed unusual to you that night, isn't that correct?
Like,
Overruled. Overruled.
like I said, I've never met him, so I don't know his normal behavior.
All right, do you recall being asked that question by Ms. Clark at the preliminary hearing, page 41? What's bad? You still feel it's a bad question? Okay, good. Well, I still want to ask it. Page 41, line 23 and 24. Do you recall being asked this question? Okay, I'm sorry. 41 preliminary hearing, line 23, 24. I think this is you. Let me start then, Your Honor. Let me begin at line 18 down to, let me go through 26. All right? Question. Can you describe the defendant's behavior that night when you saw him at the point that you were packing up the car with him and getting ready to leave? Answer. Well, I've never met him before, so everything seemed okay to me. Question by Ms. Clark. Nothing seemed unusual to you? Answer. No. Question. Did you notice any injuries to his hands? Answer. No, I didn't. Do you recall also testifying?
Yes.
Your Honor, this might be a good point if the court would allow it.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you. Mr. Park, you may step down. You're ordered to return tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. You were also ordered not to discuss your testimony with anybody except for the lawyers and your own attorney. Do you understand the order, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
All right, we'll stand in recess, 9 o'clock.